Hi people, it's me, Anja, my pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recent reads video. The first book on this list is called The Song of Wrath. For those who don't know, this is the second book in the Bones of Ruin trilogy, and it was initially one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year, except that when I started to read this book in April when it came out, I actually DNF'd it because I couldn't remember anything that had happened in book one, so nothing really meant anything to me. But I decided to give it a second chance recently, so I did end up rereading The Bones of Ruin recently to gain a better understanding of this sequel. However, I wish that I hadn't read the sequel at all, to be frank. I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars because, frankly, I felt like there were too many new character perspectives that took the attention away from the main storyline with Iris. And also, I don't care about the romances that much, nor the characters, nor, anything about it at all. Specifically about, the mystery, with her past and everything. I just didn't care. But I understand the appeal and the world building. I just don't love the route that the author took with it all, you know what I mean? Without spoiling anything, I thought the original concept was cool, the magical, competition and everything, but the route that she took with this one, I didn't really like it that much. So with that said, I won't be reading book 3, and I don't really know if anything I said made any sense because I was trying not to spoil anything, but take that as you will. I rated this book 3 stars and I don't recommend it. The next book on this list is called All the Yellow Suns. This book is a YA contemporary following a young, queer Indian American main character as she navigates her new friend group, which is this rebellious alt group. I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically this book is absolutely so good and so well done. First of all, the writing was so lyrical and so unbelievably captivating. The story is incredible. The plot was so engaging and so intriguing. The characters felt like such messy, authentic, real teenagers, and I was so invested in the story from the beginning to the end because the characters really drove the story home, and I loved it so much. The friendships made so much sense. The sapphic romance was so well done and so well paced. This book is absolutely so good, and it deserves all of its hype and so much more. The queerness of it felt so authentic and so good. This book is so incredible, and it's so fantastic, and it's so emotionally driven, and I was so invested, like I mentioned, from the beginning to the end. So anyway, with all that said, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Year My Life Went Down the Toilet. This story is a middle-grade contemporary following a young Jewish lesbian as she is navigating her new family dynamics as well as her new Crohn's disease diagnosis. This story is absolutely so excellent and it's so well done. First of all, I've always appreciated how this author writes communities and found families so well. The friendships were so wholesome and so well done, and I loved the family dynamics so much. The sapphic romance was so cute and so well paced, and I loved their chemistry and their connection so much. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. Literally, this book is so good. The plot is so engaging and so intriguing. The disability representation as well as the queer representation felt so authentic and so well done. This book is so good. I had really high expectations for this book because I've read the author's 2 previous books that I've really enjoyed. And I will say, however, I enjoyed her 2 previous books than this book, if that makes any sense, just because the tone of this book was more lighthearted than I was expecting it to be. Not that there's anything wrong necessarily with happy, fluffy, go-lucky books. I just wasn't necessarily expecting that, if that makes any sense. But anyway, overall, really solid, awesome book that I rated 4 out of 5 stars, and I would highly recommend. The next book on this list is called Bring Me Your Midnight. This story is a YA fantasy following a young main character who starts to question everything that she thinks that she knows about magic when she meets a boy who has a forbidden magic that she thought was banned. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars because first of all, the world building was so bewitching and magical, no pun intended. The plot was so intriguing and so engaging. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The romance was so cute and so well done. I love their chemistry and their connection so much because I just love them so much. The romance was so adorable and so well done. The family dynamics as well as the friendships were done so well. The magic made so much sense and it was so immersive and so magical and captivating. This book is so fantastic and it deserves so much more hype. Like, I had really, actually, I was about to say I had high expectations for this book, but I actually had lower expectations for this book because Wild is the Witch disappointed me last year, although the nature of witches was so good. Anyway, all that to say, this book is absolutely so fantastic and so underrated, so with that said, I would highly, highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and certainly not the least, is called Grumbones. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not completely sure. Anyway, this story is a middle-grade portal fantasy that follows a young main character who accidentally stumbles into the underworld when she wants to contact her grandmother beyond the grave. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. And honestly, I had really low expectations for this book because sometimes when authors of a previous genre or audience try out a new genre or audience, I would just prefer them not do that at all. But in this instance, I think that this author writes better middle grade than YA, although with that said, I've only read a few YA books by her, and obviously this is her first middle grade novel, so it may not improve from here, but I trust that it will, because this story was so fantastic, and it was such a fun adventure. The plot is so intriguing and so engaging, the characters were so well developed and so distinct, and I loved the friendships so much. The world building was so magical and so inventive and just so interesting, and everything about the story made sense. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars because I really, really enjoyed it. It was so good. So anyway, with all that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. So in conclusion, August has started off to be a great reading month, and I really hope that when you're watching this video in the middle of August, because I'm pre-filming this video August 4th, that it has continued to be. So, in conclusion, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the telephone emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching and subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!